Over on this side, finished off Raido Kuzunoha.
Hey, how about that shit?
Yeah, that game, the final section of that game fucking goes. It picks the it picks the fuck up right in the final dungeon. The Aracana corridor is incredible. I didn't quite know what we were heading down for. I had some assumptions about Raido, and like I said, I was very confused about what I was going to get. For one, I confused it with I confused Devil Summoner and Devil Survivor, so I thought I was getting a bit of an
highly different.
Yeah, I thought I was getting a fucking whatever isometric turn-based game, turn-based strategy game, a little bit. But then I also thought Raido was going to be a not a silent protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
And both of those things turned out to not be the case. But he's still very cool, and everything was great along the way. The final section of that game is where the SMT flavor comes the fuck out. And it's been there the whole time for sure.
You have your demons and you have your fusion, and that's nice. But the 1920s vibe is so overpowering.
It's definitely exactly its own thing, and then you're entering the dark world, which is just like 1920s shadow version, you know.
It's purple.
Yeah, but then you get into the corridor, and it's like now we are in a weird polygonal fucking time space
multiverse
corridor,
like air arena. It's a whole
res world. Yeah, you know, and like you're encountering these like souls and these spirits that are just like, some of them are people that are from time that are trapped in the wrong place and have no place to go, and others are like time tourists that are just like coming from a world where you don't understand their slang, but they're just like checking out, like, hey, cool, look at this timeline that shouldn't exist, you know. And it's like, wait, what? And it's like, yeah, like
it's
your whole
wild,
you know. And it's this fucking great thing where it's like, yeah, your whole timeline, your whole weird Taisho 20, it's like in the real world that shit went to 15 and switched over to Hirohito. You shouldn't exist. Why are you here? What is this? You know?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and then you're connected to like this larger thing, and as you go through each room, and it's so cool because it's like it's becoming compelling without being expensive in any way, shape, or form. Like the stuff. Go ahead.
The biggest pop in that whole section is you walk over to what I believe is essentially a time window and stick your head in and go, what's going on over here? And you see like 4 lines of text describing 3 guys and like a hill, and you go, am I looking at what I think I'm fucking looking at?
So even before that, like you land and you're in the 20s, and each step forward you go through, you're now in the 30s and you're in the 40s, and you're meeting people, and some of them are saying things, and you know, at one point you get some quotes, and I'm like, this is perfect timing because I just went through all of Dan Carlin Hardcore History World War II stuff, where I listened to a full, you know, thing about like that whole era and learning about the Japan in that in during the war. So you're getting quotes and stuff, and I'm like, oh shit, okay, that's literally Truman right there. That's him speaking, doing his speech, giving his ultimatum, you know. And then a couple of other things, and then some tourists were like, hey, yeah, I don't know, I come from my world, and we just, you know, it's like, oh, what are you doing? If you're in the wrong body, you can get, you know, like some bad things can happen, whatever. And yeah, as you hit the 70s, 80s, and then you get to the 90s, and you meet somebody who's like, oh my god, the missiles, the nukes, they're coming, the ICBMs have been fired, Tokyo is going to be at this rate. Yeah. And it's like, oh, that's straight up, yeah, that's SMT1 going down right there. This guy, you know?
Yep.
And then like, fucking like 10 feet over from him is another dude who's like, something about the floods, the church and that gets built and shit, and you're like, that's straight up like the 20 years later after the Tokyo gets nuked, then the floods came, and the Messian cult and shit like that, and I'm like, oh my god, okay, so you were kind of just enjoying the timeline aesthetics that you were traveling through in Raido World, and then you realize like, no, and your theoretical corrected future in this corridor is heading straight to those games,
which are all apocalyptic nightmare disasters.
So like
horrible.
So it's a weird thing where you're like, okay, this could be considered canon because it is canon in that it's the wrong timeline.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
the logic is just SMT's 2 timelines over from now. All that changes is at some point in the past, demon summoning was discovered to be easier than it is here.
Yeah,
and
it's not
knock-on effect, so on and so forth.
Exactly. It's not like this thing of like, oh, there's just another world and we don't explain it, and that's nothing. Like Dino, versus Devil May Cry or something. It's like, no. Mm-hmm. Like, it is acknowledged that this timeline is off, and who knows where the fuck it's supposed to go. The people upstairs are not a fan of when the timeline goes off,
And then you get to the villain, and they're like, do you see this shit? Do you see how bad this sucks ass? And you, the player, with foreknowledge of just how bad it actually sucks ass in SMT2 onwards, goes, oh yeah, I kind of get it now. Yeah, it's actually really bad. It's like a global holocaust. It's a fucking nightmare universe. Okay, yeah, no, you'd be upset. Yeah, I get it.
And also, just like, as if it's not badass enough that goddamn Rasputin just shows up, beats your ass, and is like he's the ultimate fucking Gary Oak, in that he's just like, I'm so much better than you at what you do, and then the layers of confusion where it's like, oh yeah, well, he's also part robotic, and no, wait, I think he might be full robot. Okay, no, wait,
he's a robot. He's a Terminator.
And then like, it's like, and what the fuck? And like, he's so casual, as you're like watching your world practically come to an end. You're like, what the fuck is with this dude, And then it's like, yeah, so he's actually a T-100, straight up sent back, came down the timeline to a wrong alternate reality, took a left and hit Taisho 20. And pops out, and that's why he gives no fucks about what's going on, and also gives no fucks when he grabs you and throws you one timeline over where you can meet your alternate self, because he's like, your whole reality is wrong. Who gives a shit, And he just didn't do his job. It was incredible. It was fucking great. Yeah.
You can see why, like, people had always had fun with the whole SMT multiverse thing. But when Raido 1 came out is when the chart started getting made.
Well, it's the reason why it's so fun is because I expected it to be, again, like, you go into it going like, yeah, this is its own thing, don't think too hard about it. And then, but like, when it acknowledges its own outsideness, I enjoy that so much more, Mm-hmm. It's a little bit of that, that first Star Trek reboot thing, where it's like, oh shit, okay, there's old Spock, and that places us in a completely different place where right. Canonically the old universe is
fucked all that up.
Yeah, I didn't watch them, so I don't know where it goes. But yeah, just that initial thing, which I still think back on, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I like that. It's like, oh yeah, portal over there, that's the other stuff, and this is where we are, and that's what they relate to. So that was a really fun thing. And in the end, I felt the weight of the age. I felt the weight, I felt that the game, like, it's old. There's some clunky stuff.
There's the stuff that's clunky in that game was clunky the day it came out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not just, like, it actually aged pretty well. It's just the stuff that was like, oh man. This
I
movement sometimes is a little.
Yeah, I know. I could see people bouncing off of it, and it's at its weakest when you have to do solo demon stuff, because once you have to switch over to control the demons directly, they move at the same pace that the enemy moves at, which can't be too fast, otherwise they'd be overpowered. So they're just slowly traversing the map, getting into fights that are in some cases like kind of unwinnable. And then yeah, they're just like definitely not as smooth there. But again, I still very much enjoyed it. That fucking dog you meet. I don't know if you remember, but like you meet this dog over at the Amazing Science Laboratory, and when you read its mind, like, well, because he looks like he has something to say, and then you read his mind, and he's talking, and then he's like, "Hey, you look like the kind of person that has a dream. It's important to always remember your dreams." And like he's just this really chill, cool, friendly pupper for no reason
this at all.
And then he asks you, "Do you have a dream? What is it?" And you have to type it in. And you literally
I don't remember this at all.
You have to type in your dream. And he goes, "Okay, I will remember that. I won't forget. And it's important to keep that in mind," And he gives you a little pep talk. And every time you go visit him, he's like, "Yeah, I remember, whatever." But it's just this random NPC dog in the corner of one, area of the game, and you can just run by him the whole time. And then, as you make your way through the fucking time corridor, and you're dealing with all that shit, and you get past the SMT references to everything, you approach like 20XDX, walking into the light to obviously time to go fight a god. Time to go kill a god, right? That's what we're about to do. And you
have to do every time.
You got to go kill a god. And who's waiting for you at the end of the entrance to the light to go kill a god? The fucking soul of the dog that you met way back when. And that dog has seen some shit because he's at 20XDX after every other date. And that dog is like, "Well, I've seen it. It's fucking terrible. Guess what, dude? Humanity sucks. You guys are awful. You're the worst. You ruin everything." Because he's seen past the entire franchise, right? He's seen past the 90s. He's seen past the 20s. He's gone all the way to the
past 3, 4, and 5 in different timelines.
100 years after the nukes went off, he got to watch how horrible it went. And he's like, "I fucking hate you guys. I changed my mind. You suck. I can't believe it's all your fault. This is the worst," right? And then he's like, "I bet you don't." He's like, "I remember you, but I bet you don't even remember your own dream." And then the game asks you, type in your fucking dream. What did you write? What did you say? With punctuation. Don't capitalize incorrectly. Don't use anything you didn't. Type it in exactly as you did, And if you don't, then he's like, "Yeah, you're just like them. Fuck humanity," But if you do, then he's like, "Oh my god, oh, you totally did." And then he like takes you to like a secret area, and he gives you some final buffs before you fight the final boss. It's the coolest. It's so dope, Like, damn. That dog is the best, Yeah. Never forget your dream. And a totally random optional thing, Like it was a great adventure, man. What a good game. And in the end, you also have like little moments where it's like, "Okay, well, we got to go stop this giant blood mecha, and that means we got to go to space."
Yep.
But you're not going to space. Pick one of your demons that you trust to go to space and fight for you. And then you send your favorite demon up, usually your strongest, to go fight a space boss, and then it sacrifices itself. And you're like, "Damn, you fucking did it." Alongside your cat, and then you just go back to the devil summoner fucking Goma Den, and then you just buy back the demon you just sacrificed, because who fucking cares? It's literally, it'll cost me $30,000. Who gives a fuck, Yeah. No, but it was great. I hear Incredible things about the sequel. I hear you can summon 2 demons at once. I hear it's faster.
The number one thing is that it God. So it's funny because if you'd ever played Yakuza 1, this would be a much easier thing. But Yakuza 1 controls very similarly to Devil Summoner 1 in that they're really stiff.
Okay.
And the sequels to those games were like, oh no, oh thank God, I can fucking move. Jesus Christ. And you can also fucking shoot your gun.
Okay. Yeah.
You just pull out your pistol and just shoot people.
Well, you can shoot your gun here too.
Yeah, but it's a tap in 2. I forget what the difference is, but it's like I think you can switch between gun and sword just like
you could do that here. Yeah, you could do that here.
What am I thinking of?
Both and you could there's a sword button and a gun button, and you can switch your ammo to different elements, and that's how you capture things.
Huh. I completely forget what the
infinite
I
ammo.
remember there was a change with the gun.
If it's infinite ammo, that sounds amazing.
Oh yeah, it's definitely infinite ammo.
Okay, because bullets are super limited in this, and you have to constantly buy more.
You know what? I'm just gonna send you this 30-second, 13-year-old clip of new moves Raido 2 has, where he's got like all sorts of fucking judgment cut shit that you can manage to do.
Okay.
As a good example.
Wow,
yeah,
combat! Holy shit! Yeah. Okay. No, and he just did a stinger.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got like the old stinger before, but it goes into follow-ups.
It's not Cry, but it's like approaching like an Onimiri.
Yeah. No, I mean you had the old stinger was great, but now he's actually doing ha breakdown. Like, damn. Okay. Well, that's cool. Well. Yeah, I don't. I don't imagine the blah. I don't imagine the if they just continue what they did here, build off of it, that there'd be anything I would dislike, because like it fucking even this aged in such a way where I'm like I still had a great time with it. So
did you emulate it, or did you play it on the original console?
I played it in its up-resed state.
Okay. Can you, because I never beat 2, could you send me whatever steps you took to up-res that?
Sure.
Not necessarily right now, but just in general.
Yeah. There's a couple of... There's a couple of visual things that can go wrong.
Not to do that by accident.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was talking to people about Metroid Dread on the weekend, and people were talking about running it in 4K, and I'm like, I would never want to infringe on Nintendo's copyright, so I asked people to send me a detailed guide on how you would do it, so that I would make sure to not do that by accident.
So yeah, that's the first official SMT LP that I've ever done.
Oh, finally banged one out, huh?
Got one out.
No, I haven't done one either.
Yeah. Tokyo Mirage Sessions is its own thing. I'm not going to count that.
I mean, it says it right there on the fucking box, doesn't it?
It's TMS, not SMT. So.
Oh, that was after the era of them just slapping the SMT pentagram on every single game that came out from Atlas, no matter whether or not it was SMT or not.
And the one time they really needed it to be.
They really needed it.
Yeah. Well, anyway. Yeah. Super cool.